The following program is rated TVMA. What you are about to watch contains explicit language, adult themes, violence, and may not be suitable for viewers under 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Hi, I'm your host, the Blue Collar Joe. Welcome to What the Nuts, the podcast where we talk about all the things that drive us nuts. We'll explore the big, the small, the funny, the infuriating, and the things that make us want to pull our hair out. We'll talk about things that happen to us, things that happen to you, and we'll talk about the news. So if you're a little nuts, you're in the right place. So welcome to What the Nuts. Here's my co-host, Biz.
Yo.
And my second chair co-host, Mr. PB Blasters.
Hey, what's up?
All right, Joe. So today we are visiting with a few conspiracy theories today, right? We were talking about it. We had touched on a few different conspiracy theories in previous episodes, and we're kind of like, we need to deep dive into that. So it's going to be kind of a rapid fire. We're going to talk about a couple of different ones. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Biz because he's the most knowledgeable on this subject.
All right. So we're probably just going to do a rapid fire, some conspiracy theories, and kind of hear what everybody has to think about each. So just to start it off, what's everybody think about the moon landing? Like, does everybody think the moon landing, do you think the official story is good, or what's your thinking on the moon landing?
The way I look at the time period that happened, if it was true, we would have been there a whole lot more by now. We've had a lot more people up on there, and I believe we'd be.
Okay.
Another,
You go ahead.
you get what I'm saying? I believe that we would have been there a lot more and everything. Give me just a second.
Okay, so here's my fucking theory. All right, I think we are still there. I think we've built a moon base on the backside of the moon that we can't see from the Earth.
I got you.
Yeah, because nobody knows what's on the dark side of the moon. I mean, just I don't there. I don't think that the moon rotates like the Earth does. So, I mean,
Okay, well, the moon rotates, but its rotation is synced with ours in such a way to where it's called a tidal lock. So the same side of the moon's always facing us. So it is rotating. It's just rotating in such a way to where the same side's always facing us.
oh, okay, right. So we would only see the moon at night, the same side. We'll never see the dark side of the moon. I got you now. Yeah. That pretty much concretes my theory that we have a base on the other side of the moon protecting us from aliens.
Well, okay. So my thought is most likely the official story is true in the sense that we went there, but I'm not exactly sold on the idea that they were completely honest and forthcoming with any and everything that they found while they were out there. So I think they went, and I think that's all true. But like what they may have found and seen while they were there, I don't think that was necessarily true.
This is true. I concur with that sentiment. I mean, I do. Okay, all jokes aside, I do think that we did blast the rocket off. We did send folks up to um, the moon. I mean,
Mhm.
shit. There was 13 missions, right? There was and how many? I don't know how many of them. How many of them actually? They're saying actually made it to. I think it was only a couple, right? Only a couple that actually
Yeah, there was only a few that actually made it there.
made it to the. So if we go by like the account of the government, right? I mean,
Hmm.
we seen aliens are real because the government said so this last week. Um, and that's another thing that yeah. So it's like, how much truth are they telling us? And I mean, Buzz Aldrin, he from the day till the day he died, he was like, "Yep, we went there, we went there, we went there." Um, I mean, I think honestly, uh, that we did go, we did land a couple, and I don't remember the circumstances around it that the government pulled all the funding away from NASA, or a good portion of it. It was
Hmm.
like it wasn't advantageous for us to be going to the moon. I mean, you figure, okay, we're going to the moon. Well, next is Mars, or Venus, which is the next closest planet, right?
Hmm.
Um, I mean, you would think we would. That's one of the things you guys you hear. Oh yeah, we're gonna go to Mars. We're gonna go to Mars. But why not go to another planet that's close? You know,
Well, all the rest of the planets are just too fucked. Like Venus is just too fucked.
it's way too hot there. I understand that. I
I
understand.
mean, it's basically raining like liquid acid on Mercury. Like it's just too fucked.
Yeah, yeah. Like
So okay, so there's a difference between making missions to these other planets and sending stuff there to observe them and sending people. Like the only one that we could really send people to is like Mars because it's close enough that people could survive there long enough to actually set up a habitat. But like Venus, you couldn't actually set up shop there. It's just too
Oh,
much gravity, too much pressure, just everything.
right. All right.
So, PB, do you got anything else to add in before we switch topics?
No, not really at this time. I'm just
Okay.
sitting here pondering and thinking.
So, like, I tend to agree with like Neil deGrasse Tyson on the moon landing thing. Like, if you look at the amount of fuel it would have took to got there, and all the calculations and all the math work that they did, and all that, like, there's plenty of a paper trail to show that we could have went there. It's just what we might have discovered when we got there is a completely different story.
Right. And that's the key right there is like, I mean, how far, like, with the rover, they could travel kind of far, but not really far enough to like see. I don't know. So there are other conspiracy theories. Um, there's a theory, and I've seen the photographs. There's a theory that on the moon there's a fortress of some kind, or a pyramid, or multiple pyramids. So that could be like something that the government is trying to hide.
I can't think of his name at the moment, but there's a guy that used to be on Coast to Coast a lot, and that's like all he did was like theories on he would look at pictures on the moon and try like, oh, it's a pyramid, and he'd try to look at some lines and this and that. Oh, it's a city.
Dude, I love Coast to Coast, but they definitely pulled out some of the wackos.
Yeah, Coast to Coast gets a little bit deep on the wacko meter.
I mean, so I was listening to Coast to Coast back when Art Bell was you know
Mhm.
a long time ago. You guys are too young. You probably caught the last half before he died. Um, but he had folks call the show a lot talking about some of the weirdest stuff.
I
And
mean, everything was weird. Like I remember hearing somebody calling in about being a skinwalker or some shit, claiming to be some skinwalker, and it turned into some creature every so often. Like, yo, the people that call that show are wild.
yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right.
All right, so I guess we're gonna move on to the next topic.
Yep.
So this one's similar, but not quite the same. So the Roswell crash.
Okay.
Everybody
All
think
right.
about the Roswell crash?
This
Real?
one
No? Yes? No?
this one I definitely believe in. All right. Look, I'm a proponent of the universe is so huge that there has to be other people. And
Mm.
and whether it's like a sentient life form like us, or it's a blob, or it's you know
Mhm.
whatever kind of life form that there could be, I'm sure that if something is intelligent enough to come to our planet and maybe crash land on it, maybe they chose to crash land on this planet. That's what I'm thinking, because our planet was, you know, mirrored their planet. um I think that is a definite possibility with that, and I honestly believe that it it did happen. They did find some stuff, and I think that they reverse engineered some of the things, and that's how we've gotten um some of our technology today.
I got you. So PB, what's your thoughts?
In honesty, you said Roswell crash, and the Roswell is about the alien crash, right?
Mhm.
I believe it's very possible. There has to be other stuff in the universe besides us.
Yes.
There has to be. It's too big.
Yeah.
I believe it happened. Um,
So
Yeah.
I would just say for me, it seems pretty unlikely for someone to have the technology to travel across the universe to wind up here and just crashing. So I would say it's more likely that we shot something down than it just crashed.
Ooh, that's a possibility, but also I can also see the possibility of, going through a meteor, um like an asteroid belt or something like that, and then getting disabled, and then like looking for it. See, that's where I'm at. I think that there was a malfunction. I mean, if you traveled as far as it is to get here from wherever they came from.
Hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying. At that point, if you have the ability to do that, that's almost like a card to you. So it's possible that it could break down, but it's more likely to me that it was shot down than just broke down.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a
So
good.
if you're just randomly traveling around the universe and those vehicles are like cars to you, so I mean they can break down, cars break down, but
Right.
to me it's more likely it was shot down if it actually crash landed on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That possibility, definitely. And
Well, I remember seeing several videos that were interesting from like I forget which satellite it was, but it was like NASA satellites.
mhm.
And there's a few instances I've seen to where there was like a unknown flying object that, pulled up to the satellite kind of thing to where you could see it kind of floating in the atmosphere.
Right.
And then you see something that looks like a projectile shot come from the planet towards it and it move out the way before it gets there, like we shot at it or something.
Right. I don't know, man. Hey, folks in their backyards with guns will shoot at shit in the sky
No,
that they
I'm
don't.
talking about shooting at something that's in space. I'm talking shooting at something that's still up in the atmosphere by the satellites, like something coming from Earth, flying at it, and it moving out the way before it got there.
Right. Well, with our shitty projectiles, I mean,
Hmm.
It would be easy for somebody to just kind of, oh, I see it coming. Oh, let me move out the way.
Like they launched it from like 10,000 miles away. Let me just move over here a
Yeah,
little before it
hold
gets here.
on. Let me see. I can do the math. Oh, yeah, I just have to be right here and it'll miss me.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. What do you think uh
Um, well, like Biz said, like a car, I don't believe that it tore up and fell. It'd about have to be shot. But a crazy conspiracy would be if, like, you know, how there's Area 51 and there is the vehicles, if they use those to at the time period.
right.
You catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well that was going to be the next one, Area 51. So you kind of segued us into that one.
Okay.
Right.
There's Area 51. I do believe that they do have intelligent life form there besides us. As long as there's too many people that's seen things before cameras and all the other shit that come out that was identical for you not to say that there is or isn't, that there is, or not being hidden other creatures, UFOs, whatever, that they have hidden, put away, vaulted up to where the public's eyes could not see it.
Right.
Wasn't there for a little bit, I think it got taken down. Wasn't there not a person that worked at Area 51 that leaked a bunch of stuff, then he went missing?
Yeah, are you talking about Bob Lazar?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think he went missing, but like he got basically all of his information that could have confirmed that he was there when he said he was there got deleted.
That's
So
it.
like all of his like not press passes, but like all of his security clearances and all the evidence that he ever worked there was kind of removed.
Right. All right. All right, so Area
You
51.
heard my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you heard my opinion on Area 51. What
Okay.
is yours?
So I've seen a lot of videos about Area 51. I actually seen a guy on a nearby mountain fly a drone over Area 51. You can't really see much from the air. I mean, you see buildings, you see a runway. Um, you know, I do know that if you get anywhere near that place, the MPs will come get you, and I don't know about disappear you, but they will talk sternly to you.
I watched
Remove you from the property.
I watched a video once, yes, and this guy got on the backside of the mountains where you could see the edge of Area 51, and the security who drove by found him and escorted him off the property and told him if he'd come back, he would get a trespassing charge.
Right. And that's not like a fucking trespassing charge at the 7-Eleven
Right,
or
that's
the
a federal.
Walmart. That's a federal trespassing charge. You're going to prison. So,
So my thoughts on Area 51 is obviously it's a real place. We can go look at the stuff and see that it's there. It's just what we do there. I have no clue. I would assume it's experimental craft. Like Lockheed Martin does a lot of stuff there with experimental craft and stuff like that. And some of it could be reverse engineered technology, but I don't know.
so I believe that was one of the places where they engineered the SR-71.
Yeah,
Because the SR-71, we didn't know shit about it, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, we've got this plane. It's supersonic, and it takes fucking awesome pictures." It's like, what? That's fucking awesome. I mean, awesome now. I mean,
well, that's the thing. A lot of those vehicles, we don't learn about them till after they're retiring them. And once when they're retiring them, it means they've got something else to replace them.
right?
So
it's like the stealth.
If we know about the F-22 Raptor, then what the hell is it that we have that we don't know about yet?
Because the Raptor is a fast motherfucker.
Yeah, it's fast, stealth. I mean, So my point is, since a lot of our cutting edge craft are things that we don't know about till they disband them. Like just imagine what we could have that we don't know about yet.
Right. Right. I mean, there's plenty of like I can say that there's plenty of ground war stuff like tanks and armor carriers and stuff that we don't know all the details, but we do know that we do know like what they look like, and but we don't know all their capabilities. Like, because I mean, shoot, AWACS. I live real close to an air base, right?
Hmm.
And they have one of the biggest AWACS
We found one in there, Mason.
AWACS um squadrons. I don't know why I'm fucking drawing a goddamn blank right now. All right, so they have one of the largest AWACS squadrons, and they do a lot of radar training right here in Oklahoma City.
Hmm.
Uh, anyways, you know that technology is well at the peak of its time, was cutting edge. I mean, shit.
Very much so.
Yeah, to have like radar that was able to travel around um was really revolutionary.
Well, I mean, it goes as far as to be able to identify and confirm friendly targets from enemy targets in the air. Those types of aircraft are essential. Like, say, when you lock onto an aircraft, generally probably not anymore, but back in the day, one of the first things you would do is hit up the AWAC and get them to check that ID signal to see if it's friendly or enemy before you shot at it or engaged it.
Right.
So just to know who is who in the air, a lot of the times those electronic warfare aircrafts are essential.
Oh yeah. We have a lot of fucking cool aircraft that I mean, this shit kicks ass.
Hmm. Hmm. But then that kind of goes back to Area 51. How much of that's reverse engineered
Right.
shit, and how much of it is just
Right. Like how much was that reversed from the
How
Roswell
much of it
crash?
is
well, like say if you want to like talking about the stealth aircraft, one that like the B-2 stealth bomber.
Yeah.
Okay, it's quite a bit bigger than the F-22, right?
Right.
Okay, but somehow they've both got the same radar cross signature of like 0.0003 meters. So it's like the radar of a bumblebee. So even
Right.
though the one plane is like 3 times bigger than the other plane, somehow they've got the exact same radar cross section.
It's that new technology that they developed for the skin, the paint and
Hmm.
whatnot. That it makes it so that the radar doesn't bounce off of it; it just flies right through it.
Now I don't know this for sure, but this is just what I've heard. Supposedly, a lot of the stuff that they have to put on these craft to make them radar resistant and stuff can actually be pretty unhealthy for the pilots and the crew of the craft.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, a couple F-22 crashes have been like because the pilot passed out because some of the fumes or whatever got in the cockpit from whatever, and then passed
Oh
out. And
wow,
that's how we've lost a couple of them.
yeah. Well, it's gonna be it'd be interesting to see air warfare changing with uh so you got radar, right? And then you got thermal, right? Well, like how you gonna cool a jet engine down? It's extremely difficult because you're running at least 1,000 degrees or higher. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't, I'm not a scientist or nothing, but you know, the
That's-
the the exhaust on that has got to be extremely high.
okay, it has to be. And the only reason I say this is where I'm a mechanic. I know that a catalytic converter on your average car can run anywhere from 8 to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
So just imagine that off jet fuel through the thrusters. What that temperature is it's showing.
Imagine
It
what jet fuel will do to your fucking Toyota Celica.
I put jet fuel in my Mazda to clean out to do a production service. I put a quart in it. He ran
I'm
like a
talking
fucking
about
scalded dog for a little bit, dude.
I'm talking about fucking like you know, setting a new record for the quarter mile. What the fuck? All
He
right.
actually put the jet engine on the back of the
Yeah.
car and just
Fuck yeah.
Had that bitch looking like Rocket League going up there when you're
I
hitting the
mean,
moose.
okay. Here, let's put it in perspective. You know the fucking dudes on the racetrack when it's rainy, right? And they're pulling that thing behind them. That's a goddamn jet engine. That fucking jet engine drives that track so fucking fast. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. That's some serious heat, to drive that track. So
I haven't watched NASCAR in a very long time, but from what I remember, they would have like stagger them, right? Like
Yep.
one up here, one back here. They'd run like 4 or 5 of them, right, around the track, depending on how wide
Right.
it was.
I haven't
And
watched.
they'd have to
I
make
haven't.
one
I
or two
haven't watched.
passes around.
I haven't watched in a long time either because they got woke. So
Yeah, as soon as they started doing the segments, instead of whoever finished the final lap in first place was the winner, how they done the segments.
yeah, I don't know, man.
I used to go like 3-4 times a year to a NASCAR race
Yeah.
when I was younger. But
Anyhow, let's
Correct.
get back on topic. So I think we've covered this one pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on. What's the next one?
9/11.
Ooh. I have seen a lot of information on the 9/11. I'm going to tell you something. The president at the time wasn't that fucking liked. It's like Trump. He was liked by certain people, and there were certain people that just could not stand him. Now, how else do you get the fucking country to come together without some kind of disaster? Or, I mean, okay, for instance, people in Florida, right? People in Florida, they had a hurricane, right? It flooded everywhere, right?
Mhm.
Folks were down there with their own personal boats saving people, right? So a national disaster will get the American people to go, all right, look, these folks they're hurting right now. We got to go help them out. You know, let's head on down there. And there's no call to action. It's just born and bred into the American people.
Mhm.
But when it comes to 9/11, right, and your campaign is tanking, and you kind of come up, and there's a conspiracy that the president has something to do with. If it wasn't him, it was the CIA. There's one with the CIA being involved. I know the CIA. They trained Bin Laden,
Yeah.
so that's a fact. That came out. That's true. As
Well,
far
yeah,
as I'm concerned.
we trained Al Qaeda to fight the Russians.
Right. And instead they went, oh, wait, we don't like you guys either, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna show you what you taught us.
Well, I mean, that's possible, or it could have been that they never weren't a part of us in a way, and they were just doing what we want them to do.
True. Now, I've watched the video of the Twin Towers falling multiple times. I can still remember where I was at that day when the first plane hit the first tower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in order to. All right. First of all, my grandfather was an engineer and he engineered buildings, skyscrapers. All right. In order to get a building to fall like that, you would have to cause. You'd have to. You'd have to weaken the inner skeletal structure of said building.
You would have to remove the resistance that would be there when it's falling.
Right.
Like it wasn't falling into something resisting; it was just going.
It was crumbled upon itself.
Yeah. So if you watch it and you see how it the way it fell, it pancaked, right?
But what I'm
Straight
getting
down.
at
It
is
didn't
actually,
fall. It didn't fall because if a plane hit it, it would have fell. Part of it would have fell
well,
sideways.
it pancaked faster than gravity too. Is what I'm getting at. Like
Right.
it pancaked at free fall speed. Like the floors did not in any way slow down or resist the pancaking, so it just straight went in at free fall speed.
Right. Right.
All right, so my question on the 9/11 thing is for you guys: did you think it was an inside job, or you believe the official story as far as it's Al Qaeda and so on and so forth?
That's where I'm turning at myself. I'm at the 50-50 shot. I don't know if it was an outside job that our government had planned out and paid for, or if it was an inside job completely with. You understand what I'm saying? That they didn't hire somebody to do it or hire. You get what I'm saying?
Well, see, my general thought is most likely they discovered the plot and just decided not to stop it. So most likely there's legitimate people that had things against us that were planning to do something. And either
concur.
through negligence or wanting it to happen, it just happened.
Just let it happen.
Hmm.
I think that's a very plausible theory. What I don't know. I've been in the trades a long time, and I've seen a lot of okay. In Las Vegas, right? They've actually taken skyrise. You can't just you can't just take a building, blow it up, and just let it fucking fall wherever, right? When it's a controlled demolition, right? The building, they want it to fall down in a way that it doesn't harm the public, right? Well, of course you're gonna have in a building with a building that size, the debris field is gonna be wide, right? I just keep coming back to there had to be some other force other than an aircraft hitting it.
The one that really gets me is because, like, say the Twin Towers themselves are kind of dicey. You know what I mean? But the one that's like a clear one is Tower 7. Most people don't even realize that there's a third building that went down.
Yeah.
Like one of the buildings that wasn't even hit went down.
Right. Right. And the one that crashed into the Pentagon was kind of I think that was just extra. It was like, oh, okay, you were actually supposed to fucking fly into the Tower 7 or Building 7 and you didn't. And we don't even know there was one that was the plane that crashed in the field in the wheat field, right? There was 4 planes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't know where that one was headed.
I would have said Tower 7, but
But it was fucking far away. It was way far away.
Well, supposedly that's the ones where the passengers actually overtook the, people taking over the aircraft and it crashed on the way there.
Right. They didn't expect Americans to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Here's what I will say though. That motherfucker with the shoe bomb, I'm fucking hate you. I fucking hate you.
Okay, well, my thing is if you just look at the past like 10, 15 years, it just appears that it was a catalyst to get us all over the rest of the world for whatever reason we decided to do it. So, like, after that, we were able to declare the war on terror, and then that just gave us blanche excuse to invade 4 or 5 other sovereign nations.
Right. Right. Yeah, because I think we went into Jordan, we went into Iraq, we went into
Libya,
right,
Afghanistan.
we went into a bunch of different countries in that area, searching for this dude, searching
The
for
one I
fucking Bin
never
Laden.
really understood was Gaddafi.
I don't know. I don't know about
Okay,
Gaddafi.
well, basically, we made him out to be a really bad dictator, and obviously, I didn't live there, so I don't really know. But one of the things that was a big tell for me is like usually a dictator is like scared of their population, so they don't want their population armed. They want their guards armed, they want their military armed, their police
Right.
armed. Screw the regular people. Well, Gaddafi, before the shit popped off, he was one of the guys that armed the regular people, like rocket launchers, RPKs. Like he armed
Yeah.
the people. So if he was really scared of his people and such a tyrant like we made him out to be, arming his own people would have been his own downfall if that was the case.
Right. This is true.
Like usually tyrants that are mean to their own people don't arm their people. Like that aids in their removal.
No, the first rule of tyranny is take away all the weapons.
Well, yeah, because then you can't really defend yourself.
Right. So, all right. Let us move on to what's our next subject, big guy?
All right. So the next subject, let's go ahead and hop on JFK. Just a quick run through on JFK. What's everybody think about that? Was it one lone shooter? Was it many shooters? Or what's your thoughts?
Uh I'm gonna go ahead and let PB go first because I gotta take care of something.
I believe it was planned and sought out by multiple people. I don't believe there was just one shooter. I don't myself. And like we talked about before, the angle of the shot would have seemed almost impossible the way it had been hanging out of the building. I think Ranger was the one that brought that up. We talked about how the rate of fire of the shots that was shot out in a matter of the 15 seconds. What'd you say? That's four?
Three shots.
Three shots, 15 seconds, which is plausible, but there wouldn't have been, you wouldn't have had time to actually aim and adjust for everything.
That would have been more just putting 3 shots down range and just hoping you hit what you were aiming at.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about something also? We either talked about it or I read it that when the CIA was driving the vehicle and it was shot, that the driver stopped the vehicle for a few seconds, right, instead of taking off like he's supposed to.
Yeah, I believe somewhere along the way that the vehicle actually stopped in the
So
route when it wasn't supposed to.
okay, so what happened was the follow vehicle. One of the agents jumped out of the follow vehicle. All right, and if you watch the video, the the driver of the limousine, he slows down and he's trying to climb up on the back of the car. He actually gets up in the back of the car, and it stopped. Like nowadays, they wouldn't even stop. They would just straight drive through, crash people, whatever. But yeah, if you watch the video, and I did watch, I watched the footage of it. It did seem like I've seen several different angles of the footage because there was all kinds of news people and all that there. So you do have multiple. I don't know. I have my reservations. I believe it was multiple shooters. I've been to the site, like PV said. I've been to the site. I walked. I see where the first shot was. I see where the second shot was, and the third shot. Like, I don't remember why they would stop unless it was like for a photo op. But once the first shot rang out, man, you should have cut tail and run, man.
Another thing to add on to what I was saying, if you don't care, real quick, Ranger.
Go ahead.
Was JFK not shot twice? He was hit twice out of the 3 rounds, correct?
He was hit
2 times. I'm pretty sure it's 2 times.
Yeah, there's a theory of the mysterious bullet, how it made a left turn and went re-entered his face. So that's why I think there was multiple shooters, because the trajectory of the bullets. I'm not sure if he was hit by the first bullet. I couldn't tell you per se. I've got a theory that it wasn't like the first bullet. Okay, so I could see him shooting the first shot at the president, but when he gets further down the street away from him, the angle is at such a
Well, at that point, he's already past the window and driving away.
yeah,
Like, he's already on the road driving away at an angle, getting shot at from the rear.
right. And I went through the pictures that I have, and they're all no good. I freaking had the camera set wrong. So, but I do have footage from the outside. I'm probably gonna end up making another trip back there, and seeing if I can't get more footage. We'll see. But I will say this. There are marks on the road where the first shot was, the second shot, and the third shot. Okay. They have marked it out. And it's likely that there was a second shooter, or maybe even a third shooter. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't remember. I don't remember how many bullets it was. Because fired 3 shots at the president. The second and third shot he fired struck the president. So the first shot okay, it doesn't say whether the first shot okay, it doesn't it doesn't say whether the first shot missed or not. Okay. But I'm assuming he was so close at that point where the first shot was that it was easier. It was easier for that first shot. The second and the third shot, and how he got those 2 bullets to hit. I mean, it's rough. It's rough. I mean, I'm no geometry mathematician, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the geometry wasn't there for me.
He didn't have
But
the
the
angle.
other big fucked up part is all the conflicting stories and everything from all the people that were actually there. Like, nobody's story was actually straight. Everybody had different stories.
Yeah, this is so true.
Like, everybody thought, like, they couldn't even get a timeline straight on who was in the building at the time of the shooting and like where Oswald was at the time of the shooting and what path he took out of the building. Like they can't even get a firm timeline together on like much of the things revolving around right when the shooting happened.
Right. Right. All right. What else do we got? We got time for one more.
All right, well, we got the Titanic, which one of the main conspiracy theories with the Titanic is that it didn't actually sink and it got switched out with the Olympic.
Right. 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 Okay.
So
Because wasn't there like 3 different ships that were like somewhat identical?
yeah, there's 3 ships that were identical. One of
The
them had already been in
the
2
Nina,
major.
the Maria, and the Santa. Oh, wait, no, those are the
No,
wrong ones. Those are the
no,
wrong
no, no.
ones. My bad.
The Olympic was one of them that had already been in 2 major accidents, so it was already pretty messed up. But the Titanic was brand new.
That's like
And
that's like driving that truck that the alignment's way out, like on the rear end. So it's
mhm.
driving down the road like this. Like sideways like that.
Okay, so the Olympic at one point was in an accident with a military vessel from the Royal Navy to where a Royal Navy ship rammed into it. And a Royal Navy ship actually has like a spike pointy thing up under the water for ramming to where it's actually meant to like puncture your hole below the water.
Mm-hmm.
So this accident completely messed up the Olympic. And it left it with like a permanent list or permanent tilt to port. So no matter what they did since the keel was bent, it was always going to have a permanent tilt to port, like no matter what they did.
Okay. All right.
But since this accident was deemed to be their fault, they couldn't get any like insurance claims on it. So the Olympic was basically a screwed ship, and they had no way to make money on it after that.
So it
So
was a
the theory is they switched it out with the Titanic, and then that way when the Olympic sank as the Titanic, they could then get the insurance claim.
so when that ship came into port, it was looking for the slip with the little guy in the wheelchair. No, wait. That was a
But
joke. Oh,
I missed
handicap
that one. I
parking.
missed that
Handicap
record.
parking for the
Uh,
for
For the
onto what
ships I heard.
onto what Biz said, some of the people that survived off the Titanic said they felt like the ship had a tilt to port. The Titanic had a tilt to port, correct?
Mhm.
And with,
Those reports came from the crew that was manning the ship that would have noticed the tilt to port that wasn't like normally there or not.
Hey,
Yeah.
Like the
sometimes I tilt.
passengers wouldn't necessarily recognize that, but a lot of those reports came from the crew.
Hey, sometimes I tilt some port too.
No, I mean,
Come on.
one of those where you take a little fart and tilt the port.
That's it. It's like. All right. Oh. You see. Sometimes you don't want me driving the ship. Because I'll ram it into you. Anyways, all right. So
That was loud.
this.
No, lightning almost hit the house.
Oh,
Oh.
like what are you talking about? I just hit the desk. That's it.
I just seen a white flash just outside my window, and then that was loud.
Oh.
it's sunshine and 100 degrees here, bro. I wish it was cloudy and raining. Kinda.
Yeah.
All right, so what's everybody's thoughts, real quick, on the Titanic thing before we ship it out of here? So, it's obvious they had a financial reason to sink that fucker. So, does everybody think that was the
That's
or-
me and you've talked about this, and that is 100% what I believe. I believe it was staged
Biz.
and wanted to sink it and collect
what? You know,
insurance.
shipping it out. You know what I'm saying?
I thought we were FedEx.
Yeah.
I was a little late on that one, but that's funny.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Cause I don't know you to like say funny shit just off the cuff like that. That's why it really tickled me. Anyways, I don't know, 20,000 leagues under the sea kind of thing. I mean, there's no way of knowing for sure if the ship was switched without bringing the Titanic up. Because obviously we've seen what happened when you go down to the Titanic.
Implosion. Yes.
Implosion.
Especially if you don't go there without the right equipment.
I mean, if you want to use a PlayStation 2 controller, I mean, I guess. I'm not knocking it, but I stick to Xbox.
That's like that alien that crashed here in Roswell. You know what I'm saying? It just had the wrong controller.
That's
Wrong
it.
equipment.
That's it. It was like, no.
It was just a drone. They're still sitting back on their home planet. And they're just flying it with a little Xbox controller. Hey, what's over here?
Nah, bro, they're just using that Mario Kart wheel from the Wii.
Oh,
No.
shit. All right, boys. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you made it this far, if you made it this far, we appreciate you. We love you. And we want you to tune in next time. For PB Blaster, Loco Bins, I'm your host, Blue Collar Joe. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hey, send us a comment. We like talking to you. All right, and we're out.
I heard you've been looking for me, bitch. Here I go. I heard you've been looking for me, bitch. Here I go. I hear that you're looking for me, bitch. Here I go.